Hi everyone. Good afternoon to you. Sorry, there was a small delay in some technical issues. What I would like to talk about is controlled environment brewing technologies for our country. What you see on the screen, before I get into it, let me just switch off my video because I sit in a farm and sometimes internet goes slow. In such cases, it will become jittery. Let me just switch off the screen, my video. Oh, do I do that?
You
Yeah,
can, yeah. Okay.
done. Okay. So you're seeing on the screen three different technologies, photographs of three different technologies. All are called retractable roof systems. So there is Cravo on the left. We call it as a gold standard for retractable roof systems. We have Hagro, a UK company, which has come up with a latest cheaper version of retractable roof system. And the cheapest of all is from Thick Plast rain protection cover from a Ahmedabad-based company with an Israeli collaboration. So let me not elaborate more on this. Just gave this thought so that you can ponder on these technologies as we speak. Okay. So my background, I have been working in the greenhouse technologies for over 12 years now. I set up the largest retractable roof system near Hyderabad, a company called Triangle Farms. Today it is called Lemon Chili Farms. The name has been changed. If you audience want to watch a video about that, I have the link here in the presentation. And also my current company, Bhumi Farms, we grow organic vegetables near Bangalore, and our farms are in Hosur, Tamil Nadu, and in Ooty. Uh, you can watch the Ooty farm video on the link what I've given. And my contact details are here, as you can see. So let me move quickly into the content. Uh, Basically, I have divided the content of this presentation into four sections. Fundamental crop challenges we face in India today. We all know how difficult it is to grow vegetables. My focus has been more on vegetables because I have been working on vegetable farming for more than a decade now. Uh, and the next is number two, that is crop protection options we have available in India today. Previously, we had a simple greenhouse system or a net house system available in India. Today, you have a lot of options. We will explore that as we move forward. And then what are the available automations for these crop protection systems? That we will just touch upon that. And how do we select the right combination to bring financial success to the farmer? These are the four content, main topics I'm going to talk. I won't take much time, maybe about 20, 25 minutes. I have been given 30 minutes for my presentation. Let me finish it as fast as possible so that I can answer more questions in the Q&A session. So what are the fundamental challenges in today's for today's farmers? The rapidly changing weather. That's a fundamental challenge. And the weather is no more predictable. It keeps changing. We all are used to that typical Indian traditional weather pattern uh, where we talk about Kharif crop or uh, 8 seasons what we have. But today, none of those works. Everything is overlapping. We talk about El Nino effect. We talk about drought. We talk about excess water. So these are the big challenges we face as a farmer. Then day to day, there is a huge input cost going up. Our fertilizers are becoming more expensive. Pesticides are becoming more expensive. Whereas market is not giving a extra rate for what we grow. Then, because of the probably not proper usage of pesticides, our crop yields are going down. Quality issues are increasing. So this is the third important challenge. And the fourth, the market that never gives more per kg to the farmer. So if you look at the statistically for the last 1 decade, the price of vegetables has never gone up, except for few. Most of the vegetable prices remain almost same. So this is a big challenge for the farmer. How can a farmer think of investing heavily in the infrastructure unless there is a good price he can get for the harvest he makes? So that's these four fundamental challenges. Please ponder upon this. We can talk more about it on Q&A session. So going deeper into rapid changing weather, the unpredictable rains is one of the major issue we face. Very strong winds or winds or hailstorm. Recently in Bhumi, last year actually, 20 minutes we had a hailstorm and it destroyed crops over 30 acres worth 25 lakhs. One shot in 20 minutes, everything was destroyed. So that is when we took a call to build more greenhouses and so that crops don't get destroyed because of this crazy hailstorm or strong wind. Uh, then extremely high day temperatures and chilling night temperatures. This is another challenge. This summer, we are facing massive temperature rise. In fact, we lost this summer another 30, 35 lakh rupees worth of crops harvest because of extreme temperature. Because we set up the greenhouses and the temperature inside the greenhouse is generally higher than the temperature outside the greenhouse. This is what happens when we have extreme temperatures. Then we have evening and early morning frost damage. This is another big challenge. Early morning frost will destroy the leaves of the plants. The frost will freeze the water inside the leaf, and thus in the morning the leaf will have wilted and it would have become soggy, and no more it can convert sunlight into energy. So this is another major issue. So these are the four fundamental weather challenges we face as a grower. And there are numerous other challenges, the pest related challenges, soil related challenges. Apart from that, these are the weather related challenges which I want to focus on, because if we are talking about installing a greenhouse, then what is it greenhouse can protect us from, protect a farmer from? It can protect us from these four parameters. It can't protect from not much from insects. Of course, we claim that 40 mesh, 50 mesh will protect from insects, but unless we implement hygienic standards in the flow of people, most of the time, people who work in the greenhouse are the vectors. It's not any other vector with to bring in insects into the greenhouse. So let me talk about the increasing input costs. Today, we know that infrastructure is no more cheap. What used to cost 20, 25 lakhs 10 years back, 1 decade back, today costs 40 lakhs for an acre for a normal greenhouse structure. Now, fertilizers prices are increasing every 2, 3 years. Prices are going up. Pesticide prices are going up. Cost of fuel, we all know how it has gone up: diesel cost and petrol cost. So that adds up to the pain of the farmer. So the increasing input cost is another important factor. Then falling crop yields and quality. So infrastructure capex. Sorry, the crop yield is fundamentally influenced by the pesticide and insecticide and also the fertilizers. So these two factors play an important role in crop yields and quality. Then we have market that doesn't support farmers. We all know that how difficult it is for the farmer to sell his produce in the market. Most of the time, it is auctioned and the auction is manipulated, and we don't get the price what we want. We will think that we will get in summer good price for tomato, but either the timing or the market will not match. So we lose a lot of money. Then let me now switch to what are the options available for the farmer today. Open field farming is the best of the lot in for many crops, because we don't have to invest anything except for the irrigation system and some controllers connected to the irrigation system like Ventures and probably motor on off controller, remote controller. We can put that and manage. But the weather vagaries will not guarantee the yield and quality. Most of the time it fails. So that is where the farmers like us will have to think what are the different options available in protected farming. So basically, there are four technologies available. Previously, we had only two technologies: insect net houses and naturally ventilated greenhouses. But today, we have two more called retractable greenhouses and rain covers. So we have varied technologies at different price points available to the customer, to the farmer, where he or she can take a decision based on the budget available and the crop they want to grow, what kind of technology they want to implement. Okay, the price points I've just mentioned here so that you will get an idea about how much an insect net costs. This is, I would say, plus or minus 25%, because based on the vendors, based on what kind of technology we choose, we can design a very simple insect net house within 10 lakhs. Uh, and we can design a NVGH or what we call naturally ventilated greenhouse under 30 lakhs. So this price point may vary, but this is an indicative price from the top companies that are available in India today, like Brio Hydroponics, Agriplast, Cravo, Agro, Mahindra Top, Sonite Corp. So these are the different companies I'm talking about. But there are several more companies, Pune-based companies, IGTL, which produce fantastic greenhouses. So we can always explore many, but more important is what type of greenhouse is important. Before the vendor or the supplier decides what you want, what the farmer wants, the farmer should know beforehand what is it he wants, he or she wants. Okay, that is where this particular episode I wanted to talk about how the farmer can be educated on what he wants. Okay, so let's talk about insect nets. Now, what you see on the left side is a Brio hydroponics insect net. This has three layers, in fact. The first layer is a 40 mesh insect net on top. And then there is a second layer, which is having a shade net or a aluminate. And a third rain protection layer, which technically is not retractable, but it is more season based. In the sense, in the summer, you can remove it, and during the rainy season, we can install it. It may take about a day to install these things in a 1 acre land, but that is worth, because as the rainy season comes in, we can install it and we can even harvest the rainwater in this. So what you can see on the right hand side of the picture, the pipes actually connected to the roof can collect the water, and then we can drain it to the pond and use that water. So that is the advantage of this. These kind of structures generally cost about under 20 lakhs. And we can talk about it later as we have in the Q&A session. Okay, let me move to the next, called naturally ventilated. This we are used to it. We all over India we see these kind of structures, but there are a lot of improvements made by Agriplast and by Mahindra Top for these kind of greenhouses. They now Mahindra Top has a 7 meter height. Higher the height and bigger the arch width. This width I'm talking about, arch width, higher is the aeration inside the greenhouse. Thus, the plants will not feel the heat. So that's the advantage of taller structures. Even Agriplast has some structures which can go up to 7 meters. And the advantage of this is that it is a standard, and we get subsidy for this. If for smaller houses like 1 acre, half acre, 2 acres, up to 2 acres, people get subsidy. Whereas in other structures, it is questionable. Sometimes they give, sometimes they don't give. So that is one advantage. But as a farmer, we should not always look at subsidy, because subsidy is linked to so many factors where quality of the structure may be compromised if we are only looking at subsidy. So we have to take a call as a farmer what is best for us and accordingly go for it. I'll talk about it a little later. So this is the retractable roof system. What you see on the left is, I call it as a gold standard for retractable roof systems. So what happens here is, what you can see, the roof here retracts to allow the sunlight to fall on the crops. And when it rains, it has a sensor, automatically it closes 100%. So it won't allow the rain to fall. It won't allow the frost to fall. It won't allow the hailstorm to fall. So that is the big advantage of retractable roof systems. So technically, if I want to elaborate, a retractable roof system is nothing but a protection system where it allows the crops to enjoy the sunlight. It is like an open field cultivation, but will protect only when adverse things happen. What are the adverse things? It is the rain, it is the frost, it is the hailstorm, it is the heavy wind. So the retractable roof system will protect from these four major factors. That is the big thing. It doesn't always protect from insects because, as you can see in the retractable roof system, insects can come in. Though most of the papers we talk about in technical papers that insects cannot fly beyond 4 meters, but practically I have seen that insects are pushed by the wind into the greenhouse. So it need not fly actually. It can just get into the greenhouse without flying. So the fundamental challenges it covers are the rain, the frost, the wind, and the hailstorm. So the retractable systems. There is another retractable roof system. What you can see on the right side. This is called Hagro Total Vent System. It is designed by Hagro Infrastructure from UK. It's a UK based company. Cravo is a Canadian based company, and the Hagro structure is comparatively cheaper compared to Cravo, but we have not experimented this in India yet. And shortly we will be experimenting this in India, and we will know how it is, how it can withstand the tropics and its pressures in India. Okay. Then I will talk about rain covers, the cheapest of all structures. You can see this rain cover on the right side. This is manually retracted. Whenever there is rain, somebody can go and close the rain cover so that the crops underneath are protected from rain, hailstorm, and frost, but it doesn't protect from wind. And whenever the crop requires sunlight, we can open it completely. So we can withdraw it completely so that the sunlight falls into the ground. This is the cheapest of all, and the plastic will last about 4 5 years, and it can be for better plastics. We have Cravo also giving a solution here, which will last more than 4 5 years. So this is the cheapest of all. Let's move to the next automation requirement. We all know that today getting workers to the farmers is a big challenge. So many of the components in a greenhouse system can be automated. We can automate in the insect, in the net houses, the irrigation system, the aluminate or shade net layer can be opened and closed based on sensor. Rain protection layer can be done the similar way. It can open and close based on sensor and motorized system, and horizontal flow fans. We can install to remove the to create a turbulence within the greenhouse. We can install in such a way that it can even remove hot air. It can act more like an exhaust fan so that there is good circulation of fresh air inside the greenhouse. Okay, these are the different automation systems. I don't want to stress too much on automation systems because this is a huge field by itself. I'm an automation engineer. I have been working in automation field of automation for over 2 decades now, right from 1991. So we can talk about it later in the Q&A for any specific questions related to automation systems.
Mr. Mohan?
Yes, tell me. Hello, can you hear me? Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Okay. Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were
Please
you able
proceed.
to hear the entire this one session? Was there a audio problem?
No, no, no. Just now I got the problem.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Let's move on. Next one is selecting the right combination to bring financial success. I was talking about Many a time, farmers will not know they will have to depend on either the vendors or on some third party consultants who themselves will not know what exactly to recommend many a time. Of course, we have fantastic consultants in our country, but getting them is not that easy. So basically, what I want to stress for the farmer is when we want to choose a protection system, there are four fundamental requirements again. We set up a top class Cravo X frame retractable roof system near Hyderabad. The, 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 the question there, why we set up near Hyderabad was because Hyderabad is a hot region. And many a time, fresh quality vegetables which are grown in either Pune or Bangalore is not available in Hyderabad. So we found that it will be competitive for us to set up near the city rather than setting up in Bangalore or Pune or elsewhere. So that is the reason we chose closer to Hyderabad, the Triangle Farms structure, so that we can cater to the Hyderabad market. So distance, I picked up the point number four here, D, distance from field to market. That's an important factor when we want to choose what kind of protection system we want to go for. And what is the crop we want? What is it that the market buys? That's very important. We cannot just imagine that we will grow some vegetables or we will grow, say, capsicum and sell it. Capsicum price may crash immediately, and if it is not timed correctly, we will lose all the money. Then quality of harvest. The structure what we set up is directly proportional to the quality factor of the produce. So what kind of structure we give what quality is an important factor. Then finally, the capex and the amortization cost. It's a huge capex, capital expenditure we have to spend. The money we have to put in to build the structure and the time taken to build the structure sometimes takes almost a year to complete the structure. So that's very important. These four are the most important factors from the farmer's perspective to bring financial success when we talk about protected systems. Never buy a fancy system without considering the top four factors. That's why I have put that as an important line. It's very important for us to understand the market, understand what is the quality. We have produced very high quality vegetables many times in both in Bhumi as well as in Triangle Farms. And unfortunately, the market is not ready to buy for the price what we are quoting. So we have to undercut and sell it at the quality compared to other farmers who are not producing quality. So we lose a lot of money there. So that's an important factor we have to ponder on. Then we'll talk about simple, basic, important pros and cons between different farming methods. Okay, in traditional farming method, we know that we don't have any kind of crop protection, so capex is low. That is a big advantage. But the vagaries of weather, the rains, unpredictable rains, frost, hailstorm, wind can destroy. So that is the negative factor. Then coming to organic farming, in Bhumi, we do organic farming and we are facing a lot of issues connected to the market pricing because we can't use chemicals. So sometimes the yield gets a challenge. We cannot compare it with the chemical fertilizer based production yield when it comes to organic. There are companies or something, a technology called regenerative agriculture, regenerative farming in US. We are using that technology here. The advantage of that is eventually after 3 to 4 years of cycle of production, the soil quality will improve to a level where the yield will be comparable with chemical farming. That's what we have heard about, and our CEO is currently an Indian American who has done that for the last 10 years in the US and he wants to duplicate that in India. That is the struggle we are going through in India. So the advantage of organic farming is the produce gets 20 to 30% better pricing than chemical, but the disadvantage is the input costs are high and yields are not comparable. Why I'm saying input costs are higher? If it is simple uh, ZBNF method where we use the available greens for nitrogen and cow dung and other things, then it is somewhat feasible. But if we want to grow by inoculating the soil with special biomes and then compost tea, etc., then the cost goes up. So that's the important factor if we have to match it with the international standards. Then there is another new technology coming up, hydroponics. We know the NFT and cocoa peat based hydroponic systems. The advantage of that is if properly done, we can grow fantastic pesticide residue free yields there, harvest there, crops there. In fact, Triangle Farms in Hyderabad is a complete hydroponic unit, 15 acres of hydroponic growing in Triangle Farms. And but the disadvantage is it's very high input cost because of water soluble fertilizers. Because India today is not producing water soluble fertilizers. Maybe one or two companies may have been trying to produce, but most of the time it is important. So then comes the pros and cons about open field and protected farming. So the as I mentioned earlier in traditional farming, the pro is the capex is very low, but the con is the vagaries of weather. Whereas in protected farming, we have several options available. So if the farmer is smart and gets educated about what kind of structure is suitable for his or her place, her location, then we can actually choose the right kind of structure. Of course, there is a capex involved. That is the initial investment. Maybe we have to do some kind of due diligence, some kind of uh, what do you call profit and loss analysis before we jump in for protected structures. So basically, that's the end. I guess if there we can start the Q&A after this. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah. So, okay. So you have completed?
Yes. Yes. I have completed.
Just lost the connection for a few seconds. Okay.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I'll take up some questions now.
Mhm.
Okay. So how can controlled environment growing technologies help farmers increase their crop yields and overall productivity?
Okay. I just little while ago I explained about what is it the controlled environment can bring in the advantage. The fundamental advantage in a controlled environment is that we can protect the crop from rains, so rain damage will not occur, leaves getting damaged, or rain with wind when it is storm kind of environment. Uh, the the vegetables or the fruits will not fall to the ground because it is protected. Hailstorm, the biggest challenge we face in tropical environment, it protects the control environment protects from hailstorm. Third one is heavy winds. Recently, my neighbor near Mysore, I have a farm there, my own farm, and my neighbor lost 95% of his banana plantation, about 3,000 banana plants because of heavy wind. So controlled environment helps that. In Orissa, in fact, they have installed large net houses to grow banana. That's an example to give. And fourth one is the frost. We know that early morning frost is dangerous for crops and it protects from that. So when we have protection from these four factors, naturally there is a increased yield. Let's take an example of, say, mango. Uh, yeah, I'm talking about ultra high density mango growing. Today, mangoes are grown in Australia under protected environment. Uh, and I'll give an example of that. Uh, Mango, generally a medium-sized plant, about 6 to 7 year old, will produce easily about uh, 5 to 6 thousand flowers or more. Okay, out of that, the after pollination, generally we get about say about 1,000 fruits uh, get pollinated. So, and we have 1,000 fruits growing. Now, if there is a rain, it will knock off 50% of it. That will reduce to 500. And if there is a hailstorm after, just before we harvest the fruits, most of the fruits are gone. We'll hardly have some 50 or 100 left. Okay, so the loss is almost 90% from 1,000 to 50 or 100, maybe even more than 90%. Okay, now under protected environment, people have started getting more than 50%. That means 400, 500, 600 fruits out of each plant. That is the advantage. So that is the yield. I'm not talking about increasing the yield by giving better fertilizers, by better what we call mm, pesticide management or IPM methods. No, I'm not talking about those. Are all secondary factors. The primary factor here I'm talking about is how the protected farm or controlled environment farm can give an advantage to the farmer by increasing yield and naturally the quality. Yeah, that's the fundamental thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And Mr. Mohan wants to know what exactly mean capex and amortization cost.
Okay. CapEx is nothing but capital expenditure. So we want to set up a greenhouse. Now we have a budget of 10 lakhs. I have 10 lakh rupees in my hand, let's assume. Then I will have to borrow some money from the bank because the structured cost is 25 lakhs, let's assume. So I have to borrow 15 lakhs. Now 10 lakhs plus 15 lakhs is the total cost of the project. Let's assume this is the cost. Now 15 lakhs you will borrow, let's say at 8% per annum. Now total cost will be your money, that is 10 lakhs, plus borrowed money, 15 lakhs, plus the interest component on that borrowed money for the number of years you're going to pay back, the EMI. So let's assume that this, you will take it for 5 years. Okay. When we take it for 5 years, 15 lakhs, okay, how much will it cost? 15 lakhs into 8% per annum is 1,20,000 into 5 is 6 lakhs. So 6 lakhs plus 15 lakhs is what you're going to pay eventually. 21 lakh rupees you're going to pay back to the bank you have borrowed from. So 21 plus 10 lakhs you have invested. So total cost of ownership is 31 lakhs. Now 31 lakhs divided by 5 years is called amortization. That means 6.2 lakhs per year is what you have to earn to pay back the bank as well as your money, because you have also invested. There is an interest component. I've taken a base interest of 8 lakhs, 8%. Sometimes we may get at 4% from the government, but not always possible. So this is called amortization. So we are taking the total cost and dividing by number of years so that we know what is the cost of amortization. And when we grow a particular vegetable or a crop, then we can add this amortization cost into that, and we will know the real value of production, the production cost of that particular vegetable by adding this amortization cost. Most of the time, we remove this, we don't bother to think about amortization, but the fact is that instead of taking that money, 15 lakhs, if you just keep that 10 lakhs in FD, you will get again the 7.5, 8%, which is better than trying to put money and lose money after 5 years. So that is why amortization cost is an important component in our P&L statement, profit and cost statement. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Sudhakar wants to know where to buy uh, tricho. Sorry, I'm not able to pronounce.
trichoderma.
Yes, yes,
Trichoderma
and the
viridis.
other one, yeah, Sumodas.
Yeah, Pseudomonas. Yeah, these generally the local KVKs will be able to supply these trichodermas and Pseudomonas and many other today lactobacillus kind of mm, this one. Biome, as well as we can produce it internally also. So most of the time you get it either in your agro shops, which is little expensive, but from better to buy from KVK because they would have developed these biomes based on the regional environment. So if you're in Mysore or Bangalore, better to buy a product which is produced in Mysore or Bangalore rather than buying something which is produced in Punjab. That is the reason better to go to KVKs to get these. KVKs will always advise, and even they help the farmer to multiply these biomes in their farms.
Okay.
Yeah.
And next question, what are the key steps involved in setting up a controlled environment growing system, and what resources would be required?
Okay. The key steps to install a controlled environment growing system. Uh, the first key step is we have to do a financial analysis. So we need to first understand what we want to grow. As I mentioned, let me go back to the uh, so I was talking about the key step. I missed that page here. Graphic changing. Ah, the key steps here I have mentioned here. No, select the protection system based on capex and amortization. So the first key step is how much money I have in hand and how much money I can take, I can borrow, so that I exactly know what is the amount I have. Then we have to analyze what crop can be grown based on this budget I have. We cannot dream of growing, say, cherry or apple and then extend, and we have the capability to borrow, say, only 25 lakhs and then end up we borrowing 2 crores and not able to meet the market demand. That should not happen. So the key step first is the financial stability and how much money we can allocate for controlled environment growing. Second key step is what crop to grow, and third key step is what is the distance from field to market. And fourth one is what is the quality we want to produce, because the market drives the quality. We think that when we grow the best quality, we get the best price. Not always. Many times, as I mentioned in the meeting previously, we grow top quality, but the market gives you the price of a medium quality produce. So that should not happen because in India, the market is very fluctuating, whereas in the Western world, quality plays a very, very important role. But it is changing in India also today. Most of the supermarkets you see that they demand high quality produce to be available in their shelves. So it is changing slowly. So it's very important to consider the quality requirement of the market. Yeah, those are the key steps. And the second part, ma'am, what did you ask?
Yeah, one second part is, and what resources would be required?
Yeah, the resources generally, what I advise is when we are doing protected environment structures, or I would say that we need to identify the right consultant for this. A very important key step. Unless we know that somebody is buying the entire produce at a fixed cost, like for example, Pepsi may do PepsiCo, or the there is another company, ITC based company, which buys it back. So those kind of companies, when they tie up with the farmer, then there is a guaranteed market price and a guaranteed buyback. When that happens, there will be confidence in the farmer to invest. Otherwise, it's very important if you're doing market analysis, very important to understand from the consultant point of view what are the things that is required to be noted. So P&L statements to be done. The bank requires a lot of project report and related documentation to be done. So those things has to be done. And then for that, we need resources like consultant or some advisor. So very important. Next is the bank, very important to identify the bank and getting the loan. Many time we may not require a bank for a farmer if he's setting up a net house at his own cost. So we can skip that. Then third one is an agronomist. So very important to have an agronomist either full time or on consultancy, because many a time if the farmer is not educated enough, then he or she cannot use instruments, because they will not be able to understand. We have to log the data. We have to every day log what is happening. We have to see the temperature, humidity, what are there is something called vapor pressure, which has to be measured, so which has to be calculated. These things require certain amount of knowledge and understanding of reading and writing skills. So that is where we would require an agronomist help. And fourth one, of course, workers. And very important when it comes to workers is the worker hygiene. I used to stress in triangle farms a very important point that worker used to smoke his BD and then touch the capsicum plant without any protection. So the capsicum plant used to catch up with the tobacco virus, as simple as that, and it used to destroy the entire crop after some time. Now that is very critical. So we started infusing well before COVID that every worker who gets in the greenhouse has to sanitize his hands and sanitize his foot. We used to have a potassium permanganate foot bath. And of course, every time they wear the uniform, it has to be washed before that. So these are the main important things we had to take care to reduce the insect load and reduce the vector influence on the plants as far as infection is concerned. So resources are very important. To repeat again, consultancy, one resource. Second is the banking help if required. Third one is the worker environment, and it's the fourth one is how what was I telling? I forgot. The most important factor, in fact, is the uh, the help of economists.
Okay. Next, Mr. Mohan wants to know why we should depend only on Cravo or Hegro, and as these companies manufacturing facility are outside the India, and the same we import natural cost factors will be more due to transportation, imports, taxes, etc.
Absolutely, that's a very, very important question. That was uh, today. Cravo cost is high because Cravo or Hegro or any imported structure cost is high. Basically, because there is a customs duty of I think about 30%, and there's a GST over customs duty of 18%. So effectively, the cost will, and there is a transportation cost, freight cost, all these put together, it will go up by at least 50%, 50 to 60% compared to the base price, what they sell elsewhere in the world. So that's a big money. In fact, this is what I have been talking to all these companies to see how we can reduce the cost and produce these things in India. because Make in India is an important factor. Hegro, in a way, is moving forward. They're setting up a workshop and they're going to produce these structures within India, within next few months. And Cravo is looking also to do the same, provided there is a minimum size requirement. As more number of farmers start buying, there is a critical mass, you can call it as a critical volume that is required for these international companies to set up the structures, the production centers in India. And also, there are few Indian companies which have started exploring producing these retractable roof systems. I'm working with them, and probably in a year's time, we will have a few Indian companies also producing retractable roof systems for the Indian market.
Okay. And next question. Are there any specific crops that are more profitable or suitable for controlled environment growing systems?
Yes, of course. There are very specific crops which brings in more money for the farmer. Today, many farmers have started growing blueberries in net houses, which gives an advantage. Um, it's a hardy crop and bringing some kind of protected environment under will increase the yield because it will protect the crop from vagaries of weather. So, and blueberries is a very what do you call very good market is there, upward of 800,000 rupees per kilo. So if the yield goes up proportionately, the farmer will be able to earn more. And there are specialty crops. For example, today lemon chili farms, what I was talking about, triangle farms, previously it was called so, produces various types of chilies which are popular around the world. Now that is going to help. That's a very specific crops, very specific crops that are grown for international market and also for the elites in India. So definitely crop is a very important factor when selecting what kind of controlled environment we want to set up and what crop plays a very important role. We can't keep growing tomatoes and capsicums anymore because we know that more and more farmers have started growing that and during winter the prices falls to color capsicum, as we know, used to sell at 300 plus per kilo, and today it sells at less than 100 per kilo. So that is what happens if more number of farmers jump in for the same crop. So we have to be very selective, and there are a lot of crops to select from.
Okay. Next question. How can individuals or small scale farmers access and afford controlled environment growing technologies?
I think the individual small farmers will have to focus on setting up very small structures. This is something I have been personally working on. I call it as farming as a service. You know, companies like ours, we can set up infrastructure very small, just about 10,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet retractable roof systems with the complete automation, have agronomy support for the farmer, and farmer has to take care of it. That is the fundamental thing, and it will be 100% buyback. So this is where it is evolving still in India, and farmer produce organizations are a fantastic way to look at these things. Farmers can get together, build an FPO, and then approach companies like Cravo or Haver or anybody for the matter. They can approach me to take that help and build top class technology and grow fantastic crops. Yes.
Okay. Since we are running short of time, I'll just try to take a couple of more questions. And Mr. Mohan, can I share your number, contact number?
Yeah, sure. My email as well as number. Yeah.
Okay. And how can individuals? Okay, you have already answered this. What are the main advantages of controlled environment growing technologies for agri entrepreneurs in terms of market opportunities and scalability?
Yeah. The biggest advantage of controlled environment is, in fact, scalability, because now you're protecting the crop from those major four factors: the rain, the frost, the hailstorm, and the wind. Now you can grow it anywhere you want, but of course, there are very important factors to be considered. For example, I can go and set up a high cost controlled environment structure in Bangalore, where my neighbor in open farm can produce, say, 6 kilos per kilo. Let me just take capsicum, for example, 6 kilos per plant, and your control environment will give you 8 kilos per plant. Now, there is not much difference. It's hardly 10-15% difference or 20% difference. Now, that is not going to be helpful. So, it's very important for us to particularly select the market and accordingly to grow and what technology to use for growing those crops. So market is opening up. Today, India is exporting a lot of vegetables and fruits across the world, but there are quality issues, and this is where controlled environment can be used to improve quality and yield, and thus be competitive in the world market. So there is always an opportunity. It's not that it's not there. It's just that we have to take a very firm call and we have to work towards it. It's not going to be easy for today's modern farmers. It's going to be tough because it's a competitive world. We know that take it engineering, take it medicine, take it any field. Today we have a lot of competition. It's no more what it was in 60s, 50s. India is an emerging market. So competition is an important factor, but due diligence, understanding what is required by the market, and selecting the crop accordingly is very critical to be financially successful in in putting up protected farming systems.
Okay. And Mr. Mohan wants to know what's the approximate project cost for 10,000 square feet?
I can't really point out what is the exact cost. Why? Because there are so many factors there. Now, what kind of? If it's a net house, probably it will cost less than 2 lakhs. If it's a retractable roof system, it may cost about 10 12 lakhs. So this is always a difficult thing to answer because it is not fixed and location dependent. I have set up greenhouses in Ooty where cost of normal naturally ventilated greenhouse is above 70 lakhs. Normal greenhouses. Why? Because the terrain is 45 degrees. We are building it in fact, there is a video there. You can see that video. I shared that with you also with the host on the mail. So people can have a look at that video, how we have set up the structures in Ooty, 45-degree hillside. And if you have to pitch a greenhouse there, imagine the cost of shifting those materials and installing those materials, erecting those materials on that hillside. So it is not driven by cost. Please keep that in mind that it is not driven by cost, it is driven by market. So what market is there and what price you get for the crop, for the harvest, is what determines how much you can put the money for a particular project. It's not first the money and then the market. It's always the market, then the crop, and then the money component.
Okay. And yeah, one last question I'll try to take.
Mhm.
Are there any training programs or educational resources available for individuals who want to learn more about control environment growing technologies?
I do give training programs like the one I'm giving right now. So people can contact me. I can help out in making them understand what the different technologies available, what is it suitable for them. Where I have a network of very high level of agronomists and individuals who have grown from all over the world. So we can always connect to them and get more details and take decisions based on that.
Okay. Yeah, so Mr. Mohan has mentioned that I think land is in Guntur.
Mhm.
Okay. No other question about the 10,000 square feet one.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And are there any government or private sector initiatives that support farmers or individuals interested in adopting controlled environment growing technologies?
Yeah, most of the state governments do give what you call subsidy for controlled environment growing, but those subsidies are stuck in its own bureaucracy. It takes a lot of time. So you cannot base your project based on the subsidy you get because subsidy may come in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, we don't know. So fundamentally, my advice is that first determine the market, then determine the crop, and then calculate the cost. And then if subsidy is available, well and good. If it's not available, even then the project should work. Financial success is very important, irrespective of whether we get support from the government or not. And for the retractable roof systems, companies like Cravo, Halo, they are trying to get subsidy, but currently no government is giving subsidy for retractable roof systems, except for the NVGF, that is naturally ventilated structures and net houses.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mohan. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf
Okay.
of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for the detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome,
very
sir.
nice day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you.